So now, Victoria Coren-Mitchell and her guests tell it like it really is.
Hello and welcome to a new series of Heresy, the show that challenges received wisdom and drills a hole in the rowing boat of lazy thinking. With me tonight, chuckling in the bushes at the edge of the boating lake, are Mack, David Schneider and Germaine Greer. We will be arguing against 3 statements of widely held belief. Later in the show, they'll be about the twin scourges of foxes and media studies. But first, Andy Murray.
Mr. Bluebird's on my shoulder. It's the truth, it's actual. Everything is satisfaction. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. Wonderful feeling this way.
Yes, once the archetypal grumpy teenager, Andy Murray is a lot cheerier these days, a lot more successful and a lot more popular. When he won the US Open, he was the toast of New York and the deep-fried toast of Scotland. 72% of our studio audience tonight agree with the statement, Andy Murray is a lot more likeable than he used to be. Mack, do you like him better now?
No, I don't like him better now. And the reason I don't like him better now is because I've always liked him. Yeah. That's knackered your format, hasn't it? And shall I tell you why I've always liked him?
Why is that?
Because I think that it's about time this country got together and realised what an affable, likeable and charismatic gentleman he actually is, and we should actually give him a round of applause for his winning attitude. Can I just check? We are talking about Andy Murray, the children's author, aren't we?
Former grumpy losing tennis player, now winner.
Him? Oh, no, he's a miserable Scottish bastard. I don't like him, no.
Germaine, do you think Andy Murray's got more likeable?
No, I don't think he's got more likeable, really. You know, the sweetest thing he ever said was that he could cry like Roger Federer. He just wished he could play like him. That was the first and only time he actually talked about another player and admired another player. And he couldn't even learn from Federer. Federer's always courteous about his opponent. And Murray always thinks you're talking about him.
To be fair, it's very hard not to talk about yourself when you're being interviewed, because usually the questions are, how do you think the game went?
No.
And if he turned around and went, never mind the game, how's your mum? The interviewer would go, he's a bit tapped, this bloke.
No. Just watch the way Federer does it.
But he has become more popular as he wins more and smiles more. David Schneider?
No, not with me. I liked the Andy Murray that lost, that we could make jokes about, oh, he's winning, he's British, and now he's lost, he's Scottish. I like what his only job was to almost win and then lose, and to be Doer. He was a Doer. He was tennis's Gordon Brown. That's what I liked him for that. And now this sort of, he's trying to be tennis's Louis Spence. What we need Andy Murray to be, he's got to be like the footballer Luis Suarez. Well, I don't know him, but I'm just going on received opinion of people making racist abuse and biting other people. He's not a very nice man. And I think we need Andy to be more nasty. When did he cry? When did he George Osborne it?
I think when he listened to this...
Was it at...
It was at the final when he didn't win.
When he didn't win.
When he lost at Wimbledon, I think. He cries a lot, doesn't he?
But he also smiles a lot now. I
He
mean...
vomits occasionally, do you remember?
Does he cry, vomit and smile all at the same time?
Well, he is Scottish.
Yeah, that is a great night out in Scotland.
I genuinely worry that young people growing up now, they'll watch the Olympics, they'll see him win the US Open, they'll think we're a nation of winners. What kind of terrible message is this sending out?
That's a British idea. The idea is that you should be a nice guy and you should take losing in your stride. You should be charming about the people who defeated you and so on. And that's the thing that Murray can't really get right. He's resentful, he's bad-tempered, he's also ugly, which doesn't...
Yes. Why isn't he lovely like Tim Henman? Yeah.
You know when you're asking when did he cry? I think we know when he's listened to
Now,
it.
yeah.
His big problem at the beginning, the big popularity problem, was because he once said he didn't cheer for England in the football because he's a Scot. Now...
No, it's worse than that. He said, who do you want to win the World Cup? He said, anyone but England.
These days, he's always going on about, no, he's completely British, he's not Scottish. And I don't know if he means it, and I don't know why we demand this sort of PR veneer of smiley charm. I think he was more honest and likeable before.
Do we stop cheering for Andy Murray if they get independence as an Englishman? That's it, it's over.
Yeah.
We have to bow Hatchet or whatever her name is.
We start supporting the North Korean and Iraqi tennis players. That's what we do. You don't want the North Koreans firing tennis balls at you.
I think we should go to the audience to see what they think. James Ingram, you strongly agree that Andy Murray is more likeable than he used to be. What's changed for you?
When we saw him cry.
Oh, you liked him for that?
Yeah, it's because we got to laugh at him.
Oh, that's strange, because I was quite touched when he cried. I thought that was genuine. It's the smiling I don't like.
Just other people's misery. It's great.
It is interesting that people say that, you know, if you say, I'd like to see a man cry, it means that he's in touch with his emotion. But if you flip it round and you say, oh, you know, I really like seeing a woman cry, you sound like some sort of sexual deviant, don't you? That's what I find when I say it. When I'm shouting out the windows, chucking bricks.
Where is Abby Phillips? You've said on your ballot paper that you like Andy Murray a lot more these days. Why is that?
Did I? I actually can't stand him. I thought I'd put dislike.
No, you've said that you think he's more likeable now.
I really must have my eyes tested. I can't stand him, and I think he's got worse.
What do you think has got worse?
The second he said he would cheer for anybody but England, I switched off, and that was it for me with Andy Murray. And I think if he cares that strongly, he shouldn't come and play for English money in Wimbledon, south of the border.
What, he should serve on the Scottish border?
That would actually
Massive
be really
return.
good. Tennis overhated.
500, I like it, a 500-mile tennis court.
I think we need a Scottish response to that. There must be a Scot in the audience somewhere. What's your name, sir?
Justin.
Justin. Now, what do you think of this idea that he was once Scottish, but now he's become British?
I think he's doing what we all do and playing you guys down here by winding you up by saying we cheer for anyone but England.
Who would you support out of North Korea and England?
North Korea have a very attractive style of football. They're good to watch.
Actually...
One more person who thinks Andy Murray has got a lot more likeable with time. That's Rob Otley. What do you think has improved in his character?
During the Olympics, I thought when he played the doubles match, they were really mean to Laura. They could really give her some nasty shots, and he was sort of standing up for the girl, and she was a bit younger and a bit greener. I thought he did really well there.
Sorry, they were mean because they were giving her hard shots?
Obviously, that was the intent of the game.
How British are you? The idea in the doubles is generally, and this isn't a sexist thing, it's true, isn't it, that you play to the woman, because the woman tends to be a lesser standard than the man. Would that be a fair... I'm terrified, Germaine, of your eyes bearing into my soul. It is true that that's what they tend to do, isn't it?
Well, certainly...
You say it's true?
If you're Andy Murray and choose her for your partner... You clearly want to be head and shoulders above her. You clearly think you're going to play the whole game and she's going to be running underneath your strokes. So, of course, he was cross.
I think we need to move on. Let's go on to our next topic. I hope we've persuaded you that it's more patriotic to love a grumpy loser than a smiley winner. Besides, we shouldn't get too complacent about the state of our national tennis. OK, we've got Andy Murray as the #1 British player, but the #2 is still Fred Perry. I preferred British tennis when the players were such a load of rubbish at Wimbledon. When they got knocked out, they were carried off by wombles. I thought so. Our next topic is foxes.
The fox went out in the chilly night, and he prayed for the moon to give him light. He didn't have far to go that night before he reached the town, oh, town, oh, town, oh. He didn't have far to go that night before he reached the town, oh.
Well, he's reached the town-o, found a wife-o, and bred like hello. In city or countryside, most people think, and 61% of our studio audience agree, that foxes are a pest. But foxes are lovely, all bright-eyed and snuffling and cuddly. You just want to wrap them round you. Not all of them, just their skin as a scarf. I'm joking. I love foxes. I love foxes. David Schneider, do you have any reason to believe they're a pest?
No, I'd agree with you. I was coming down my road one evening. There's a fox who lives near us, and he was trotting by, and there's something very relaxed about them. And I found myself just walking past it, because you don't know how to be. It's not like with either a little cat or a little dog. And I found myself going, good evening. And then thought, well, that's the fox. But I think there's something very dapper.
Did he look at you like, do you think I'm Basil Brush? I'm not that.
I think it's because there's something very dapper and just trotting along like a neighbour.
Providing your neighbours crawl round on all fours and root through your bins, I understand what you're saying.
You don't know where I live. But at least I hope not.
But Lee, you live in quite a rural part of town. You must have a lot of foxes around there. Do you think they're a terrible pest?
I absolutely love foxes. I can't understand why people don't like them. When you go to your back window and you see a fox, it's not often it happens, but when there is a fox in my garden, it's one of the most exciting things ever. We get the family down, we all, you know, we're all at the window loving it, and the kids are thinking, I wish we had a telly, and we're just... They can attack humans. It's so rare, though, that it happens. But a fact, for example, this is a true fact, there are more people injured every year by blue tits than foxes.
That isn't a fact.
You're right, it isn't, but I said it with conviction, and that's what I tend to do with facts. If I say it with conviction, I'll just say anything. That's what I tend to do. Bakewell tarts have got less calories than carrots. that kind of thing. All right, someone can occasionally get bit by a fox, but, you know, occasionally Premiership footballers bite people. If I saw one of them in my back garden, I'd genuinely be excited.
Germaine, you live in the proper countryside. People say foxes are a pest there. Do you have any love to show for them?
I love my foxes very much. There is one thing they do for which I am deeply grateful. They hunt and kill cats.
This really is against the received opinion now.
And cats are amongst the most damaging feral animals we have to deal with. They kill everything. They kill our small mammals, they kill birds, they kill lizards, they kill frogs.
Yeah, thank God someone's killing those lizards. Because we are overrun with them.
That is complete nonsense. We're not over. If you even find a lizard this year, you let me know.
Do you know why? Because we've got cats.
Yes, well, I'm on the side of the fox. And the other thing is, you need to understand that dogs will kill foxes. Dogs are descended from wolves. They have an inbred enmity with foxes, and they will kill them.
Not all dogs. A chihuahua couldn't kill a fox. That is a fight. I don't agree with dog fighting, but that is a fight I might consider going to watch.
Chihuahuas are a lot more dangerous than you think. The question of foxes is a tricky one. They're beautiful animals, they have a place in the countryside, they do good stuff, they can also be tremendous nuisances. But the problem about them in the city is that they live on McDonald's. Sorry, I didn't mean to mention
Yeah, I think you're getting confused between foxes and teenagers.
No, not at all. I mean, the foxes eat the rubbish that people throw away. When they're dumped in the countryside, they can't find food. They don't know how to hunt.
We only have rubbish collections once a week. Someone's got to take it. It's one of the good things about foxes. They clear it up. They don't swear as they go past the front window.
And they invented the glacier image.
So keep them in the city.
What you say about dogs, though, I think it's a good point. People say, don't they, that they're terrified of foxes. But if you're walking down the street or in a forest alone and you see a dog, that's a lot scarier than a fox, isn't it?
Yeah, because you know that there's probably a man with the dog. That's what I think. If I saw a dog on its own in the forest, I'd go, dogs usually are with men. And what are men doing walking around the forest in the middle of the night? And then I think, well, I am. What's the matter with you? And then I'd remember, that's my dog. Yeah. And then I'd be all right. And then I think, I've got to stop drinking. It's probably PR, though, isn't it? I mean, dogs have... There's not that many famous sort of cartoony foxes. There's only really Basil Brush that made it as what's the word I'm looking for when an animal becomes human?
Anthropomorphic.
No, cartoon. But when you know, and Basil Brush, he was great although he did let himself go. Did you notice that towards the end of his career he started to sound a bit drunk?
I always hated Basil Brush. Weird, snide creature. But we're arguing in favour of foxes. We're going to go to the audience.
It's hard to be snide when you end every snide comment with boom boom.
Elsa Dobell, you strongly agree that foxes are a pest. What evidence do you have?
They always eat our rubbish when we... Well, they eat people's rubbish and it's annoying.
Why don't they eat your rubbish?
Yeah.
What's up with your rubbish? How bad is your rubbish that foxes won't eat it? What are you throwing away?
Nothing.
You're not throwing anything away. That's why they're not eating your rubbish. You are a womble and fox nightmare.
But you're talking about rubbish that's lying about in the street. Would you think the problem is not so much the existence of foxes as the absence of dustmen?
I'll tell you one thing, that I don't know if anyone here remembers what it was like when you first saw a fox in town. It was actually quite exciting. And B, I don't know if you remember the Essex lion last summer. There was a lion that was spotted in Essex, turned out to be a cat. But I was quite hopeful that that would be the first, like the foxes, that we would have lions everywhere on our street. But sadly, no.
One more person, Mark Justin, where are you? Mark Justin, you
Mark
think...
Justin sounds like someone's scoring and we've just got the results.
Mark Justin, you think...
What is the Mark Justin?
Mark. Mark Justin, you think foxes are a terrible pest. Why?
Well, I've lived in the country and they ate all my chickens. But I suppose living in the country, they're an accepted pest. But I'm living in London now and they're still a pest. They're still eating my chickens, although I have eaten the chickens myself first.
Where do you keep these chickens?
When I lived in the country, in a proper coop with a 10-foot-high fence and a door...
That's ridiculously
and they still
high
got in
for a
and killed
bird
them
that
all.
doesn't fly. That's unnecessary. What you did, you gave them 1 square foot but 10 foot high and you completely misread the instructions, didn't you?
Did you agree with the idea of hunting foxes to keep the numbers down in the countryside?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Should we hunt them in town, like only through back gardens?
They're two different breeds. I mean, country foxes are very pretty and do look cuddly, but London foxes are pretty mangy.
Racist.
But you see... I think this is where the idea comes from. I think people that want hunting say that foxes are a pest. I'm not particularly against hunting. I just say don't dress it up as pest control. If I have a mouse in the kitchen, I don't say what I need is 200 aristocrats drinking sherry on horseback. That'll sort it out. If people want to hunt for fun, say they're hunting for fun. But I think the idea that foxes are a pest was to justify that. And now we all think it. And if you actually think about it, they've never done anything to you. Exactly. Right, that is the end of foxes. Or rather, I hope it isn't. It's typical received wisdom to say they're a pest when they've never given you any trouble. I think the dislike is nothing to do with stealing chickens or raiding bins. It's just standard prejudice because they've got ginger hair. Let's talk about media studies.
You're mine. You're my favourite waste of time. Baby, you're my favourite waste of time.
We all suspect that media studies as a subject was invented by a quick-thinking academic who got caught watching TV at work. 102% of our studio audience agree with the statement, maths is more worthwhile than media studies. Sorry, no, 75% of our studio audience agree that maths is more worthwhile than media studies. But why? Surely media analysts are just as useful in the 21st century as mathematicians. Professor Greer, why is that the case?
Well, maths is a bit special, you know. Most people are not very good at maths. On the other hand, computers are terrifically good at maths. And you might as well let them get on there. Whereas, when it comes to media, we have to be able to understand the difference between different accounts of the same event. We have to know when to be sceptical. We have to know how it is that we are given wrong impressions about the number of people involved in a political action, for example. We really need people to be sceptical about the way they receive the news. I mean, Margaret Thatcher was created by Rupert Murdoch, who invented this housewife figure. She was a millionaire's wife, is what she was, with a cut-glass accent and ridiculous hats. He turned her into this mumsy figure who could lead the working-class Tories in this country.
She wasn't that mumsy. We've got a highly educated panel. Besides the professor here, David Schneider has a degree in modern languages from Oxford, and Lee Mack was headhunted straight out of secondary school to work in a bingo hall.
I think you'll find, since our last meeting, I'm now a doctor. I got an honorary degree at my...
A doctor of making things
which,
up.
ironically enough, I studied media studies.
Interesting. See, I was going to say, having worked in a bingo hall, you're the closest we've got to a mathematician. But why...
I wish you had, because I like being patronised. But
why is media studies important?
I'll tell you why it's important. Let me take you back. The car's outside. We'll discuss it at yours. No. Let me... No, but seriously, let me take you back.
Media studies, Lee.
Let me take you back. 1994, Brunel University. There was a media course there. Young fella comes down from up north. People mocked him and said, you won't get a job if you study media studies. And they laughed, but he studied hard. 3 years later, he came out with a 2-1. Not bad. Where is he now? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I've lost contact with him, but I'm guessing he's on the dole because what a waste of course that was. Should have done maths. Much more important.
David, come on, media studies is an important subject, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, I did do a maths A-level, and it's been 30 years since I did that almost, and...
well, almost. Surely you can say exactly if you've done a maths A-level.
I can honestly say that since then, even in emergency, I've never needed to call on a logarithm or a cosine. I feel, I mean, that you'll only need, because of computers, that you'll only ever need maths now if you're in a plane crash like in Lost, and what are the chances of that? Well, we can work that out through maths, but I really believe in this. We should have not just media studies, but more specifically social media studies. Because it doesn't matter anymore how many GCSEs you've got, or A-levels you've got, what degrees you've got. It only matters how many likes, how many shares, how many followers you've got. That's, when I look to judge a person, that's what I'm judging at. I'm on Twitter a lot. That's basically where I live. It's great to actually see people in the real... it's a little bit weird to speak in more than 140 characters. And I want people to go for a 3-year course to university and only then be allowed to tweet. I want to stop, and this would be the second layer of the course, I want to stop people who take my jokes literally on Twitter. I'll give you an example. Sad to hear that the inventor of eBay has just died. He had a really boring life except for the last 2 minutes when it all went crazy. Now, clearly that's a joke. Most of my Twitter feed is a joke, and yet I still got 5 or 6 people linking me to the Wikipedia page of the inventor of eBay saying, no, he's still alive. And I think a social media studies course, 3 years at the minimum, would save us all a lot of hassle.
People do experience the world increasingly, don't they, Germaine, through media? I think we're all aware of a bigger world than it used to be, and not through personal experience. It's through Fox News and Hollywood and YouTube and
Fox
Twitter
News?
and...
Today, another bin has been gone through on...
Mark's just in.
But people do acquire far more of their knowledge through virtual or old print media than before. Is it not important that they get a compass how to deal with it? Shouldn't all children be learning media studies?
Yes, I think they probably should. Because one of the difficulties about the enormous amount of information that comes in from all these media is that none of it is verified or verifiable. None of it tells you where it came from or what the evidence is, and the evidence is sometimes very misleadingly presented.
I'm quite certain that tomorrow morning thousands of people will be telling other people that blue tits have killed more people than foxes. In 2 years...
But imagine if it just happened tomorrow for the first time when there was a big invasion. They went for it.
That blue tits had been reading your tweets.
Yeah.
Did you really?
I think the Twitter bird is actually a blue tit, isn't it? For real nerds, I think it is.
Is it?
Move on.
You're asking the wrong man. I'm still doing CFAX.
Lee, did you really do media studies?
I did, yeah. I did film and television.
Why do you think that's treated as a joke subject when it seems to me an extremely important thing for people to know about?
Because people like me kept turning up drunk. And yet still got a 2-1.
I think
that's your answer, really, isn't it?
Let's go to the audience. Where is Lawrence Crook? What is wrong with media studies?
There's nothing wrong with media studies as a sort of general idea, but something that's useful to think about where the media's coming from. But I don't think there's enough to it. I mean, I don't think there's enough content there to create an entire degree course around it. Because you could summarise... It seems like you summarise most of it as just don't trust
Well, you're trying
people.
to summarise, but you're proving... You know what you should have done, mate? Studied media studies. If you'd have known how to do that, you'd have been able to succinctly say...
Yeah, if you sort of summarise it all as just sort of don't trust the media, look into things yourself a bit, you don't need much more than that. That's sort of what media studies is, but 3 years of it.
Yeah, but that's like saying you just need 3 and 3 is 6, and 4 times 9 is whatever that is. And that's all you're saying. You're just, you know, you need more than that. You need division and all the other ones, don't you, Germaine?
No.
Kick in.
No, you don't, because your computer can do that for you.
Not mine. I told you, I'm CFAX and my computer's a Commodore 64.
Yeah, even a Commodore 64 can do that.
Mine's got a plug on.
Well, you should do electrical studies. No, but it's not a criticism of a subject to say that it's badly taught or that the courses have no substance. The study of media has begun, in our time, with Marshall McLuhan, which was one of the most important sets of criteria that were ever applied to modern life. And they were about the kind of information we were getting and our propensity to believe it. They were about sloganising and advertising and persuading people to want things that they didn't need and that they also probably couldn't afford. It was one of the first ways of seeing your way through the kind of milieu in which we live, in which people are victims of partial information and persuasion, which they don't really know how to resist. It's possibly the most important subject you can study.
If you can't do a whole media study course, can you just do one unit, and is that a medium study course?
Yes, it would be if it was one medium. If you...
John Paul Denton, where are you?
I thought you were listing the Beatles there.
John Paul Denton, you strongly agree that maths is more worthwhile than media studies. Is that because you love maths or you hate media studies?
No, it's just mainly because I think it's a standard grounding for scientists and engineers and things like that, so I think that's more important.
When scientists announce an amazing discovery, where do they do it? On the telly?
Obviously yeah.
And how do we know if they've really discovered it or not?
Yeah, but the flip of that argument is, what's a really good entertainment show? Countdown.
I think we've run out of time, and I think we've proved the importance of media studies. As for maths, students don't need to study it. They're naturally talented in that area. It takes them a matter of seconds to work out how many £1.49 bottles of cider you get out of a £30,000 student loan. It's 20,134. Thanks very much to my brilliant guests, Germaine Greer, David Schneider and Lee Mack. Good night.
Heresy is written, presented and produced by Victoria Coren-Mitchell and co-produced by Daisy Knight, with additional material by Charlie Skelton and Rob Colley. The series was created by David Baddiel and it's an Avalon production for BBC Radio 4.